life is a sacred journey. Every week, we bring a new perspective to aging and caregiving. Here is your host, Micheal Pope.
Good morning and good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. My name is Micheal Pope, and I am the host of this incredible neighborhood of people who believe in peace and love and helping caregivers, helping those that are caregivers for those living with Alzheimer's, dementia, caregivers just who are caring for loved ones that are living with other diagnoses that require them to have assistance, for parents, for women, for life. So we call it Life is a Sacred Journey because we believe the journey is sacred, and we believe that it requires each of us coming together, working together, creating wisdom circles of thought where we can manage our lives in a different way. And this is Pondering number, I don't even know, 56 or something like that. For those of you that it is your first time joining us, we have Ponderings where I ponder the week or ponder the world or something in the news. And then we also have opportunities where we bring those wisdom seekers of the world who have written books about nutrition, caregiving, and all of that kind of stuff. And so, and then we bring laughter. We hope we bring love and connection, and we hope we bring stuff that is mind-provoking, soul-provoking. And so, and I am the host. We've been doing this for a long time. We started out as a radio broadcast on Blog Talk Radio. It was an hour show. We've brought back, we went to this platform when the pandemic hit us, and we have remained on this platform since. We're always looking for folks to interview. If you are an expert in nutrition, caregiving, parenting, have a life experience that you want to share where you overcame adversity that would help somebody else, that's what we want to hear about. That's what we want to share. Also, right now, we're really wanting to do a series on expats. And we would love it if you are an expat or you know someone that as an expat, we'd like to talk to you and maybe interview you on Life is a Sacred Journey. There are many, 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 many folks that are retiring, but because of the cost of living in wherever they live or in the United States, they're moving to the peripheral places, the peripheral geographies, and sometimes even to Europe and other places farther away in order to stretch out their income. And so we would really, 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 really like to talk to some of you and share your experience so that it might help others as they're pondering how they can retire and do it well and not feel like they're becoming indigent the moment that they are no longer working 40 hours a week. So we send that out there to you. And again, welcome to Life is a Sacred Journey. This pondering, I've been thinking a lot about a lot of things. One of them is, what is peace? Yesterday was the International Day of Peace. And I began to, I ponder a lot, and I began to wonder about peace. And then I remembered that this was given to me a while back. This was given to me by Nancy, who is one of our family members who comes to the virtual neighborhood of Life is a Sacred Journey. And it's a National Geographic background about the word peace and the symbol of peace. So it combined itself. And I really wanted to go and find out a little bit about it because I know that the peace sign came about in 1958, and it was during the Cold War, and that became the symbol of no war, no war. Let's go into the world with peace, peace, peace. This is the sign of peace. I always do this because I come from that era where this was peace. And in some countries, and I know I learned this in Bali, we do peace be with you. Peace, that word, what does it mean? And how do we manifest it in our lives when we're crashing into each other in a world that really has us, I tell you, really has us imploding exploding, every way of chaos that you can imagine. We are living through those times. And we like to blame it on stuff. We like to blame it on the pandemic. We like to blame it on whoever, what political party is in office and all those kinds of things. But the chaos is coming from within mankind. It's us carrying that chaos around in such a way that it comes out in these things where we get into debates about my feelings are better than your feelings, and you better focus on me when I tell you, and oh man, the internal destruction of peace. So in this pondering today, we're going to talk about peace a little bit. I'm going to go over the history of the peace symbol. We're going to talk about the International Day of Peace, and my most favorite place in the whole wide world. I used to play hooky and hang out at the UN Plaza in New York City. It's like, peace. And we don't always get it right. We get upset at the UN, we get upset at whatever, and because we don't always get it right. But if we would focus, I believe in the power of the humanity and the vibration of the human spirit. And if we all focused on being peace, bringing peace, might that change things? That's an experiment that we claim we've tried, but we haven't stuck with it. So there's no outcome that we can measure except for the moments when we come together in peace during catastrophe, when we come together in peace, when we know that we have to lean down and help our fellow persons. But yet we're having a real hard time with it as a collective body on a day-to-day basis. And so the International Day of Peace is in recognition, September 21st, so it was yesterday, in recognition of where we need to bring peace. Where are those corners of our lives that we need to bring peace? Micheal Pope thinks you need to bring it first within yourself. You need to draw it completely into yourself to open up the portals of your spirit so that as you walk out into the world that you're bringing peace, that you're smiling more than you need to, that you're finding that place of peace. Is it difficult? Oh, damn, Skippy, it is. It is so difficult to find and maintain a platform of peace inside, because everything that's coming in is coming in to destroy that peace. And it's not coming in. We have those moments, those glimmers of moments when we go on vacation, when we walk in the forest, when we get sent a text of a flower from someone that we love and how wonderful it makes us feel. But peace is hard to keep, hard to hold on to, hard to embrace, hard to even imagine in this day and age where chaos is the sort of the bread and the food of our mankind. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that this morning. And in the next 20 something minutes, I'd love you to write in the chat if you're out there watching. First of all, hit that share button if you would, and hit the thumbs up if you like it, or the thumbs down if you don't. But show us your reaction to Life is a Sacred Journey. That is important to us and important to all that other stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We promise you we'll do our best not to nag you with our platform, but we believe we have a platform that is uplifting and life affirming. And so we want to share it with as many people as we can. So if you could help us with that, namaste. Thank you. So I want to talk about those lines that make up the peace symbol. So as I said before, the peace symbol was created in 1958. It became the symbol of the 60s. And in this state, in the state of California, where I was still a little young, but could hear the news and listen to the conversations of the adults around me, knowing that we were living through some hard times. It was a time when Russia and the Cold War, as we call it, the Cold War, where technology, bombs, nuclear weapons was the topic, and we were very concerned. Where were you in that time? You know, talk about what your feelings were, what you might have absorbed from being around. Some of us were young enough that we don't remember it really, you know, as we remember yesterday, hopefully. But we do remember the impact that the Cold War had on our communities and our parents. You know, I know that I watched my parents during the 60s, and the 60s taught me, not because of anything they may have said to me, but I saw things like I saw my mom crying when JFK, Martin Luther King, met, you know, different people were assassinated, murdered, and the cry, I had never heard my mama cry like that. And so then you get in tune, and you know that something catastrophic has happened. I remember being a kid during those eras where we had to have we had that sign on the door of the classroom, and we had to learn to get under the desk. We had these cool desks that have flipped up. We could put all our stuff in it. And we had to learn how to get under the desk if there were that noise, that siren that went off, or the teacher indicated that we should. So we know these things sensory wise, that they're going on around us as children, and we're impacted by them, and we remember them as changes or things that are chaotic, that moment of like, whoa, I feel unsafe. So that's when the symbol of peace was birthed. And I'm trying to find, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm trying to find his name. They say that in the US, the symbol was first used by the Civil Rights Movement. It was probably imported by Bayard Rustin, a close collaborator of Martin Luther King, who had participated in the London March in 1958. So it was seen there. Crossing the Atlantic, the symbol lost its association with nuclear disarmament and came to signify more generally peace. PEACE. I sign all my emails that way, even with my colleagues that don't maybe follow my spiritual practices. I write the word peace. You'll know anybody who's received an email from me sees that, or a text. I always say peace. One, peace within me as I'm writing this to you. Peace within you as you're receiving these words from me. Because sometimes we write stuff, I know I do, and I'm not always clear about how the impact of it when somebody's reading it on the other end, because I might be dealing with a whole lot of emotions at that time. And I try not to hit that stupid button at that time, but it happens, right? So in the 1960s, in the US, it mainly meant anti-war. And Carlsbad, I didn't even know it meant nuclear disarmament. So when it was in England, across the pond, it was about nuclear disarmament. And then once it came across to the US, it became about peace. It became about the Vietnam War and peace in the Vietnam War in the mid-60s. I remember seeing T-shirts and all of that with the peace sign. Now the peace sign has its own marketing. I'm sure it has its own marketing people. It's on everything. It's on everything. Stickers, hats. It's on everything, but it's not in everything that we do. So I'm just saying. So it says upside down. I want to read this to you. Carlsbad and Holton corresponded in 1975 when the former was in researching for a book that would eventually be published in 2008, marking the 50th anniversary of the symbol. And I believe I have that book as well. And what he was saying is that peace is a preferred methodology of most people, but yet the hardest thing that we can take on as individuals. Even caregivers who need peace in their lives have a really difficult time finding peace because maybe they don't have respite. Maybe they're walking alone in that caregiving experience, and why programs like Alzheimer's Services of the East Bay exist. And so peace is important. Peace is important when, as individuals, when we're walking around and doing the things that we're doing, we need peace. But I did go to the UN website to find out what are the global initiatives that because every year they pick global initiatives around peace. And the one thing they want people to think about is saying that peace begins with me. Peace begins with me. So I think I might put that now at the bottom of my emails when I send it out, instead of just peace, but peace begins with me. And I'd like you to write that. So if you're watching right now, wherever you are, write in the chat, peace begins with me. And maybe I have a magnet. Some of you know this already. I have 2 magnets on my front door. One says, have a blessed day. And the other one says, you are magnificently, wonderfully made. So when I leave my house every day, I also have a to-do list magnet paper, so that if there's something that I need to do, I write that on that. So as I'm leaving, I can grab it and go out the door. I have a lot of stuff on my front door. I use it like a wall. But anyway, let's get back to peace. It is important that we understand that it begins with us. So peace, I love that. So the one initiative that they're asking is that we all say and adopt, peace begins with me. And peace begins with me. Write in the chat if you really embrace that, and that peace begins with you. So the other is, at the summit, they realized that they wanted to observe following things. Food disparity. People cannot have peace when their stomach is growling through starvation. So what they did is they took peace, that whole concept of peace within, peace, that place where you're quiet, that place where you feel in a connection to other human beings and to the world. And they took the social injustices that we're living under right now, food disparity, gun violence, health access, and figured out. So I invite you to go to the UN website and look at how they took that and turned it into how that creates or impacts peace. Isn't that beautiful? Can you imagine that a group of wonderful people sat in a room and said, you know what? When a person is housed, when a person eats, when a person has a halfway decent education so they can be gainfully employed, they have self-esteem, they have joy, they have peace. It doesn't mean that they don't have adversity in their life and things don't come and go, boom. No, 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 no. It just means when you come from a foundation of peace, when that stuff happens to you, you do a little bit of this, you do a little bit of that. And in my new theme song now is That's How We Roll. We roll when we have peace. Doesn't mean we don't feel pain. Doesn't mean we don't feel anguish. Doesn't mean we don't feel separatism. It doesn't mean we don't feel the negativity of the world. It just means when you come from a place of peace, you have a little bit of wiggle room to wiggle around all those things that come at you and punch you and sucker punch you and draw you to your knees. Peace is a gift, but it's a gift that you got to keep looking at, and you got to keep carrying around and give yourself reminders of what that means and what peace means to you. It's an amazing thing, peace, P-E-A-C-E. So I'm going to go to the definition and the peace sign and give you its original history, which I have not done as of yet. So it says the peace symbol made its first public appearance in London's Trafalgar, I believe is how you say it, Square in April 1958. So I was just about to be a year old. It was originally designed as the emblem for the British nuclear disarmament movement. It soon spread to America, as I said before, where it was put to use by anti-war activities. Before it was a dozen years old, it could be seen on psychedelic Volkswagen bugs and buses in San Francisco's Asbury area, and camouflaged helmets as US GIs in the jungles of Vietnam. It was there at apartheid in South Africa, and it's also been a part of a lot of political, what do you call them? Debates and areas, and there it has been used also in negative ways. Though people worldwide now recognize the peace symbol, few people remember its designer, and his name is Gerald Halton, who created it by combining the semaphore signals for the letters N and D, meaning nuclear disarmament. But Halton, no doubt, would be proud to know that his simple circle has become a universal shorthand for activists who believe in the humanity, that believe that anti-war, meaning violence, where we go in and we do harm to each other, is not a paradigm that we want to foster. Peace means no war. And we think of war as what's going on in the Ukraine. And yes, that is a war, but a war between all of us, Black and white people, men and women, straight people and LGBTQIA, children and elders and children, the wars that we create. I saw a video this morning after my meditation that I thought was very beautiful and very eye-opening. And there's 3 children standing in front of a casket, and they each are crying, and then the casket is closed. And they open the casket, and there's nobody there. Then they turn around, and their mother is actually standing behind them. And she's not dead. And she says to them, "This is the only way that I could get your attention." And they began to apologize for not making the phone call, for not showing up for the dinner, for all of the different things. And I thought about that because I've been thinking about the topic of peace since Wednesday, when I knew we were going to have a pondering, because we've shifted some of our guest scheduling around. And I thought, she was giving them the gift of peace. She was saying, I want you to know how much I love you. I want you to know how much I care about you. And yes, I'm not in that casket yet, but life is short. And let's come together and do things. And then they go, they don't say that, that's me. Then they go to the cut to the end, and they're playing Monopoly and engaging in family time together. Peace means recognizing what is needed for you to have peace. Reconciliation, maybe, with someone who has done you harm. Getting out of your head and thinking, because you don't know what another person's thinking, that they must be thinking something negative or adverse about you, when they might not be thinking about you at all, and you got yourself all hyped up and nervous about it. Peace. Peace within means knowing that you can pick up that phone and talk to that person and say, hey, ho, something's wrong. I'm feeling something. It may be imagined, because I did learn the other day, and I think I told you this already, perceptions is 80% most of the time of how we navigate what we know. And the reality, that other 20%, we kind of don't embrace. Reality and perception are really 2 different things. And without conversation, dialogue, and engagement, then the perception wins. Because the perception can be fueled by negative experiences, and either all the way across the board, and trauma that we live with. from whenever the trauma was inflicted, and the multitude of traumas that we embrace, or sometimes they're inflicted upon us throughout our lives. So peace is something that is fleeting for many, and something that we want to embrace and try to hold on to as much as we can. But it's hard. It's hard to embrace. And sometimes it gets us to the place where we don't know where we are and who we are. And we get to a place where we feel isolated and depressed, and we feel anxiety, and we feel like our life is not worth living, and we want to take our lives. And when that happens, there's an organization out there that can help you. The number that you call, that you text, is 988. I apologize. I am in a moment. Is 988. Your life is important. There are people around you who love you, but they don't understand what you're going through. And they don't understand how to reach you. But there are people at 988, because maybe the relationship is too close and too personal, that you can't talk to them. But if you dial or text 988, there will be somebody on the other end of the line that will be able to help you through that moment. Your life is precious, and it's worth living, no matter what anybody says to you, no matter what anybody has done to you. It's precious, and you deserve to live it to the fullest until the day you die. Don't let anyone or anything get in your way and rob you of the joy of life, because one day you will find joy. Pick up the phone, text or call 988, and somebody will be there to assist you and love you and get you the resources that you need, so you can live to that day where the morning sun shines and you see it and you say, yeah, I'm all right. Because that is where you're striving to be. The other number that I want to share with you is the 1-800-843-5200, and that's the California Youth Crisis Line. 24/7 crisis counseling, anonymous, safe, confidential, and they will connect you to for youth and families. They will connect you to resources, calyouth.org, 1-800-843-5200. You can call, text, and chat to that number. 988, Suicide Hotline, California Youth Crisis Line, 1-800-843-5200. If you are a clergy person, a lay person, if you are a person out there that is in social services, these two numbers should be right on your right on your desk or somewhere. I'm gonna actually, after today, put them on my phone. So if I see someone, I have these cards from the from the Cal Youth. I'm gonna start giving them out at my church and different places that I go. I'm gonna leave them in bulletin boards, because we gotta stop thinking, no matter what amount of training we all have, whatever that may mean, that we have the resources that these folks need in that moment of despair. 988, Suicide Hotline, 1-800-842-5200, California Youth Crisis Hotline. I apologize. I lost somebody who was 21 years old. Now, only not that long ago, 4 weeks ago, maybe. Loved mightily by parents, by me as her godmother. Loved. But it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because the burden of this world and the lack of peace that was taken away from her, the peace that was taken away from her by social media and bullies. And so therefore, she felt so much despair, so much embarrassment. So if you're a bully, whether you're a teenage bully or you're an adult bully, you need to find some peace, because that's the only reason that you're doing what you're doing to other people. Stop it. Because you know what happens? I'm old enough to tell you, and I'm going to tell you. One day somebody's going to bully you, and you won't like it. So search yourself. Find out what that trauma is that's making you feel that you need to bully other people, and get help. You too can call the Youth Crisis Hotline if you are someone that is a bully and you don't know why you're a bully. They'll help you. They'll help you. But first, it starts within. Peace within me. Peace within me. So friends, we've come to the end of this pondering. I hope you have a fantastic weekend that is filled with fun and laughter and joy. Tomorrow night, I'm going to be with CIM. It's a wonderful business. It's a multi-billion-dollar organization. I always say organization because I work in the nonprofit world, so I should say corporation that works in leasing and real estate. Well, they came to us. They came to ASAP and they said, we want to partner with you and help you raise money. So we're going to be with them tomorrow night in an event that they're hosting within their organization, within their corporation. And thank you, Heath, for everything you've done to make it so. Yeah, so, send us good thoughts. I'm trying to think of something fabulous to wear so I can bring peace into this situation. Also, I am also having the honor of, as I said to you, going and being a babysitter for a minute for my baby, from my granddaughter. So I'm looking forward to hugging her and kissing her. You know why? Because she brings me peace. And when I look in her eyes, I see nothing but peace. And I will do everything humanly possible to keep that peace in her eyes for the rest of my life. And it starts with me being the peace, with bringing peace within myself, and not using the excuse that I'm human and I make mistakes and all of that. All of that is true. But I'm learning to stop, breathe, and keep my doggone mouth shut until I can open it, even when I'm in conflict, through the lens and through the sounds and through the vibration of peace. Hard to do. I've messed up a couple of times because I consciously have to stop myself, but I'm working on it and I'm getting better every day. So I pass that on to you. Stop, take a deep breath, take another deep breath, and one more time. And let it go. Peace, friends. Go out, hug a tree, pet a cat, pet a dog, and hug yourself. And know that peace lives in you, and we need it. We need you to come back out and share it with the world. Thank you for coming to Life is a Sacred Journey. We are fortunate and honored and blessed that you all have joined us. And again, hit the share button, hit the like button, subscribe, all that stuff. But more importantly, be the peace. Be the peace. Have a great weekend. Peace.